Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joey Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
On today's show, we'll talk the Ripleys, believe it or not, give away some of their brand new books. Talk about some of the weird animals that Dr. Debbie just loves so much. She'll look at this book. I gave it to her about a half an hour ago. She's still looking at it, looking at all the weird pictures.
The two-snouted pig. That's awesome.
I know.
And the pictures. Gosh, you can see all these pictures.
We'll hold up these pictures to the microphone so that you can see them during the interview. And then we'll give out the book for you to take home. Put it on your coffee table. Also, Mikhail Becker will be joining us today. And what has she got on? Positive reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement, yes. Ignore your dog when they do something bad and reward when they do something good.
Perfect.
That's all on the way right here on Animal Radio. Let's go to Terry. Hey, Terry.
Hey, Hal. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good. Brother from another mother? So what's going on? How can we help you, man?
Well, I could use $3.5 million so I could just go home and lay around with my dogs all the time.
Well, hold on. Let me see if I can get a collection in the studio here.
I got 3 cents.
I got a couple of bucks. I don't think we're going to be able to get that, but if we could, we would, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Checks in the mail, I'll still respect you in the morning.
So what's going on with your animal?
I don't know if this is a Dr. Debbie or an Alan question.
Okay.
But my lab, I'm not sure how old she is. She's 10, 11, 12 years old. I found her in the middle of a blizzard. Here lately, she's taken up to eating the drywall in the house.
Drywall?
Wow.
Yeah. She chews on the drywall. She'll wake my wife up in the middle of the night chewing on the drywall. She don't just chew it, she eats it.
Wow.
Okay.
She's literally eating me out of house and home.
Oh, jeez. Is this something she's always done, or it's only just in her most recent days she's doing that?
She's always been a chewer as a pup. The wife's got a solid oak table, and when we would leave her alone, the vet said she was having anxieties from being left alone. I can't remember exactly what he said. So he gave us some advice. He said, spray perfume on it, and it'll stop her from chewing. Well, it did. And she only seems to do this wall chewing thing when I'm not home.
Okay. All right. Well,
because I've never caught her at it.
You just find the evidence, and you have to do the drywall repair afterwards.
Wife does. I don't. She doesn't do it when I'm home.
How do you know it's not termites?
When I'm home, they're all in the bed. They're all in the bedroom with me, and when I'm gone, they all go in the bedroom with her.
How many you got? Hal, you're not far off with some folks. I have had folks where their dog will chew the wall, and we talk about behavior modification and all this, and they actually can have if you're in an area where you can have mice, they definitely can get into the wall. So if it's something like that, just look at your pest control. Yeah. But for me, for an older dog, I'm going to chime in here first before Alan. And an older dog, I do worry if this is a new behavior. So she's always had a chewing outlet, and now she's starting to look at things that are a bit more peculiar or unusual. That does alert me to a condition or a symptom we basically call pica, which is when animals eat unusual things that make no sense, like eating dirt, eating coins, things around the house that they might not normally do. And that can sometimes be a symptom of something going on internally. So for an older pet, I like to make sure I do a recent blood panel. And the reason is I like to look for things involving the red blood cells. Make sure we're not anemic, because a lot of times animals, when they're anemic, they have an innate drive to look for iron. So they may start eating things like dirt, soil, rocks, and so forth. So just a little medical check you may want to do. And then from there, certainly all the behavioral things that I think we can work with there. If we're a younger dog, I've had some great successes with some of the Labradors that come to my office in getting them into physical activity, getting them into doggy daycare, keeping them occupied. Especially if they have problems being confined, and if they get destructive or they get really anxious being cage confined. Physical activity is the magic cure, getting them out, getting them moving. But I would want to make sure that your older pup is not having something medically going on causing that.
She's healthy. I call her my little fat land whale because she'll eat anything that don't eat her first.
Well, here's the thing. Do you guys have a crate? Have you ever put her in a crate?
We had one, but we've gotten rid of it. They pretty much... I've got 5 dogs in the house. I got 2 Shepherds, a St. Bernard, a Lab, and a Beagle mix, and 3 of them are rescues, and they pretty much have the run of the house.
Have the other dogs always been there? Did you get a new dog recently?
No.
The dog that's chewing, before she started chewing drywall, did she chew other stuff around your house?
Yeah, she chewed up the wife's table.
Has anything changed in your house? Anything at all? Have you started a new job? Did you bring in new furniture? Anything? I'm just curious.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'll tell you why dogs do that. Regarding, as far as, as long as there's nothing medically wrong with the dog, dogs chew to discover and explore the world, and they also chew because they're bored. Sometimes they're anxious. Sometimes they're afraid. Sometimes they just want attention. And if a dog learns that he or she can get attention by chewing drywall, then he certainly will do it to get that attention. Also, tiring your dog out is a really good way to keep a dog from chewing undesirable objects. But the way to stop it, it's pretty simple. It just takes time and patience on your part and monitoring. You have to monitor your dog. So you either have to put the dog in a room where there's nothing you care about that she can chew up, or in a crate until you're ready to monitor your dog. And one of the techniques I love to use to get a dog to stop chewing what I don't want him or her to chew and to start chewing what I do want him or her to chew is to get like 1 or 2 dog toys. They have the ones that are scented like meat, or ones that you can put peanut butter in, and you pretty much just put this thing in your dog's mouth all the time. It's like a mental toy where they have to figure out how to get the food out, or your scent is on it and a meat scent is on it. And whenever you put those 2 toys in your dog's mouth, you're like, good dog, good dog. And so you're teaching the dog that, hey, it's cool to chew this thing. He likes it when I chew it, and I get attention, and it also smells good. So when you teach a dog something, you always use positive reinforcement. You always make the dog feel good for doing the right thing. And when a dog is doing the wrong thing, it's always your fault because you're not there to prevent it, monitor it, or keep it from happening. So if your dog has free run of your house, well, there's no way for you to correct the behavior because you're not catching your dog in the act of chewing the drywall. Therefore, as frustrating as it may seem, it's not going to solve the problem to give your dog free run of the house. It's only going to make you more tense and your dog more tense. So you have to get a crate, and you have to keep your dog in the crate until your wife is ready to monitor the dog, either by having the dog attached to her with a leash or following him around, so that when you catch him chewing the drywall, you go, hep, real quick sound, hep. So to re-divert his attention, to refocus his mind on you, then you take that toy, stick it in his mouth immediately, and you go, good boy. And that's it. You just have to be diligent.
Problem with that, Alan, is she does it at night when the wife's asleep.
Well, she should be in a crate. I just said, you got to put her in a crate. There is no problem. The problem is that you're reluctant to put her in a crate. That's the problem. The dog doesn't have a problem. It's your problem. You have to confine her, because whenever a dog does something wrong, it's your fault. It's not her fault. You have to prevent her from doing the wrong thing by making sure that she can't. And then you have to reward her for doing the right thing by following her around and catching her doing that. And that's how you teach a dog what you want and what you don't want. A lot of people hate putting their dogs in crates. A lot of people think it's mean. It actually isn't. Dogs learn to love crates. As a matter of fact, a lot of dogs love them from the beginning instinctually because, they like the den. They love that. So they like small confined spaces. And if you're worried about the crate, you just get one. You leave the door open. You start feeding the dog in there. You start giving her treats in there. She'll start going in there by herself. She'll start sleeping in there by herself. Because every time she goes in there, you go, good dog. And then every time she comes out, you go, good dog.
Terry, thank you so much for calling, and thank you for listening to Animal Radio. Appreciate it. Quick check of the news right around the corner. What are you working on there, Stace?
Do you know the difference between a service dog and a therapy dog?
Sure.
Well, there is a difference. And you know what? For $65 now, you can get papers, patches, and a vest and make your dog look like an official service dog. You can even buy a prescription letter from a psychiatrist after taking an online quiz. I'll give you all the details of this shady stuff, and you know who you are that abuses. Coming up on Animal Radio News.
This portion of Animal Radio is brought to you by John Paul Pet's Awapoochie shampoo. I'm actually wearing a service vest right now. People use me as their dog.
I'm a service human.
Check out John Paul Pet's Awapoochie shampoo and Awapoochie conditioning rinse for a great shine, as well as John Paul Pet's oatmeal shampoo for full body and paw wipes to moisturize and soothe. Available in the special box sets at Petco. John Paul Pet, tested on humans first. We actually do. We use the shampoo. Yeah.
Yes, we do.
A lot of folks don't know that I'm allowed in most restaurants and movie theaters now with Hal because I am his service human.
He has to wear a vest and everything.
This is Animal Radio.
Hey, it's Vinny Penn, your resident party animal, coming at you again on Animal Radio. I wanted to bring something up to you. This could draw the ire of some of you Animal Radio listeners, but sometimes I do like to push your buttons. I think you know that by now. I was at a raging party last night. Just a great, great time. And at one point, everybody was having a great time, and it was a group of people who don't get together very often. And at one point, one of our old friends of ours, she said, well, it's time for me to go. I got to let the dog out. You know how it is. Got to get home and let the dog out. And we're just thinking, I had 2 dogs in my life. I never had to leave somewhere to let the dog out. I mean, we don't want to persecute the dogs, but then again, none of us are going to 12-hour-long parties either. This party was roughly going to be 4 to 5 hours. From my recollection of my 2 dogs, Rocky and Cruiser, Rocky, of course, being short for rock and roll, we were pretty much on the same bowel movement schedule, dare I say, when it comes to me and my dogs. So I'm starting to think, we looked at each other after she left, my buddy Tommy and I were like, that's the out. That's a dog owner's, I got to wash my hair out. That's her way of saying, okay, this party sucks. You guys are getting drunk and stupid as usual. Ooh, the dog, I got to let the dog out. Poor thing, home alone. Leaving a party to quote unquote let the dog out is the dog owner's equivalent of, I just don't think of you that way. Vinny Penn, party animal on Animal Radio.
Do you have an old car sitting around your house? Maybe you're even paying insurance on it. Well, if you don't need that car anymore, donate it, running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. They will even come and pick it up for free and give you a receipt for a tax donation. Breast cancer screening could save the life of someone you love. And right now, they need your help. They want to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And that's what your old car helps to pay for. So get your phone out and call right now to donate your car to the United Breast Cancer Foundation. Remember, they will come pick it up for free and give you a tax donation receipt. Call right now.
800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Are we going to the phones? I'm
yes,
so sorry about that.
We have a caller on line 1.
Hi, Susan. How are you doing?
We have a 13-year-old Yorkie. And in the last 3 months, her personality has changed somewhat. Well, quite a bit, actually. And I think she is deaf, newly deaf. And so she doesn't come when we call her. She doesn't greet us when we come home. And she's starting to have accidents in the house, which is not usual.
Okay.
She normally weighs about 5 pounds, 6 to 9 ounces, and now she's down to 4.6 ounces. And we've had blood work done, and she's not a diabetic, and all of her blood panels come out well, but she's not the same dog.
Okay. Well, a lot of what you're describing with some of the loss of recognizing you coming out, certainly in a dog at that age, she can be having some loss of hearing. And then that can be an age-related thing. So may not be a lot we can do with that. But once you are home and she's recognized that, if she's not getting up and she doesn't seem interested and she's just generally less active in the home environment, then we really would want to look at something of cognitive dysfunction. And this is a condition that we kind of call it doggy Alzheimer's, but it isn't necessarily the same thing. But we do know that older dogs and cats can have significant mental decline as they're getting into their double-digit years, as they're getting older. And some of the things we really look at are going to be loss of interaction, interest in the humans in the household, and regular schedules, the comings and going of the family. If that is not the norm, that can be a symptom of this. Now, some of the other symptoms can also be failure to know house training skills, so having potty accidents at any time of the day. Some dogs may even have a kind of a switch in their sleep cycles. So instead of sleeping at night, they'll be up, pacing, wandering, and alert during the night hours, and they may be sleeping all during the day hours. If those kind of things are going on, then we could have something that fits into this cognitive decline. That there are medications and supplements that we can use to help pets with that. And that would be something that I would definitely consider. Now, if your vet has done lab work and has eliminated a lot of the common things, sometimes there's some additional things that I might look at. In older pets, we can see them kind of slowing down and get less interactive with blood pressure issues. So, especially in a Yorkie, hypertension can happen. So, checking some blood pressure wouldn't be a bad idea there. And then just making sure that arthritically, in an older pet, that we manage pain as best we can. Even if you don't think you see it, something more than glucosamine may be indicated for a pet in that age group there. But I'd say you have to trust your instincts, Susan. And if you're seeing a major change in your pet's behavior, those are those kind of symptoms that you really want to kind of shout out to your veterinarian. And even if that first lab work was normal, I say go back and say, you know what, just something's not right. You see her every day, you know what's going on, and that's where your instincts really help a lot for the veterinarian to know how much we need to be concerned or how much we need to look into something.
Well, I did suspect a little dementia just from her behavior, and she is 13, so in human years, is that still 7 years per human year for a dog?
You can kind of approximate that. There's a different formula. In small breed dogs actually last a lot longer. So if you were to multiply like a 17-year-old dog by 7, it's improbable that a human would live that long. They definitely do live longer, but in that age, and I usually say the double digits. So for me, any dog in the double digits, I'm on the watch for some of the senior-related health things, arthritis, mental decline, kidney disease, liver disease, and really being aware for those things. And you're very astute in noting that. And I would say there are some really good medications we can try. L-Deprenyl is one that helps to increase dopamine activity in the brain, and it can help. I do find a lot of folks wait too long, unfortunately, when the pet's showing these kind of symptoms. And just like folks with Alzheimer's, a lot of these medications and supplements can help better if we get on board with that when the symptoms are a bit more mild before they're actually kind of doing circles and they're stuck in corners and you're having to, find them in the house because they can't find their way around. So definitely, I would, speak up, chat with your veterinarian, and I'd want to see about getting your baby on some things that could help.
Okay.
I always like to tell people that, old dogs, age is not a disease. So old dogs don't just die of being old. There's usually something going on. So if you're seeing a symptom, something's not right, see your veterinarian about it.
All right, I've got some notes. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your call, Susan. To my left, Dr. Debbie, veterinarian, answering all your questions. Let me tell you, she's well-versed in iguanas, all kinds of... She practices in Las Vegas, so that's, there's a lot of weird animals there. But you're a dog.
You're talking about the animals or the people?
Both the animals and both the people.
Both.
Also, dog trainer Alan Cable, and usually dog father Joey Villani, who's out for his birthday today. Stacy Cohn, working hard in the newsroom. What do you got going on?
It's been alligator hunting season. I didn't even know they had something like that, but they do. And I think a couple weeks ago we talked about an alligator that was 723 pounds.
Yep.
Well, guess what? That record's been broken. This alligator is huge. Tipped the scales, took 3 lines to get this guy in. I'll give you the details of exactly how much he weighed and how long he was. Coming up on Animal Radio News.
Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
these crazy people. I mean, it's the same thing with the dogs. If they do a dog movie, people run out and get that dog. Well, now you got this show called Swamp People, and you got this other show called Gator Hunters, or whatever the heck it's called,
Yes.
And so now the lunatic people that are like the amateurs, they're all going out there, they're all gator hunting. So get ready for your onslaught of people losing limbs. I'm just saying, just get ready for it, because it's coming.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Ross on Animal Radio. Please remember to spay and neuter your pets.
Do your dogs go nuts when they hear fireworks or during a bad thunderstorm? It's not their fault. They have sensitive ears. You love your dog, and so do we. That's why we developed a perfect solution for your loved pets by eliminating the harmful noise. It's called Doggy Hush, a unique waterproof set of headphones that go over your dog's ears. They're so comfortable, your dog won't even know they're wearing them. And when this happens, your dog will feel and stay safe and stress-free. Go to doggyhush.com. Enter the promo code we're about to give you for a free special gift. Again, buy Doggy Hush for your dog today and protect your dog's ears from fireworks, thunderstorms, and a lot more harmful noises. Go to doggyhush.com and enter this promo code, Radio4. Radio and the number 4. Go to doggyhush.com right now and enter the promo code Radio4. Again, that's promo code Radio4.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Well, have you ever taken your dog to fly with you somewhere and your dog gets all nervous and crazy? For $349, your dog can learn to fly. Now, not with its own wings, but on a plane. Security checks and bumpy air, they're all in a day's training at a Hollywood film studio to prepare your dog for a safe and calm flight. The Air Hollywood class is billed as the first in a real fuselage on a soundstage with a simulator that'll mimic takeoff, turbulence, and landing. Hollywood extras create crowds and chaos that come with terminals, luggage carts, and the blare of announcing arrivals, delays, and departures. The idea was the brainchild of Talat Captain. He's president and CEO of Air Hollywood. That's the world's largest aviation-themed film studio. He noticed a dog owner having a tough time getting his dog through airport security. The owner was stressed out. The dog was freaking out. He goes, well, I figured, why don't I train those people and their dog? So last year, Air Hollywood conducted a test class. They did 60 puppies from Guide Dogs for the Blind. Some of the handlers were more nervous than the dogs because they don't like to fly, said Rick Wilcox. He oversees puppy training in Southern California. He said it was amazing how realistic it was. And you know what? The dogs came through with flying colors. I added that. A service dog is highly trained to perform a specific task for its disabled owner. It's kind of different from a therapy dog, which comforts the sick and elderly, or an emotional support animal, which soothes anxiety. For people that want to take their pets wherever they go, there's a brisk business that's developed in the sale of bogus service animal certificates and vests. Tim Livingood, he runs one of the many websites that sell this certification paraphernalia. For $65, customers can get papers, patches, and vests to make their dogs look official. They can even buy a prescription letter from a psychiatrist after they take an online quiz. He said the laws are broad enough to allow that, while his business, the National Service Animal Registry, sounds official. He says government-sanctioned registration agencies don't exist. Federal law doesn't actually require registration or identification patches. I think they will soon. Property managers or airlines are not allowed to mandate that service animals come with patches, and they're not allowed to ask owners to produce ID cards. There's a new laboratory device that creates three-dimensional cancer tumors that can reduce animal testing by almost a third, scientists say. The technology is part of a growing movement away from using animals to screen drugs. Most drugs are initially tested on cells in flat two-dimensional culture plates before they're evaluated in animals. This will be able to be used to study drugs that block the invasiveness of cancer as well as its growth. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
This is
Animal Radio.
Dr. Debbie.
Hello. All sorts of fun stuff here today.
Oh, yeah, what's going on, girl?
Oh, you name it. I'm kind of running the old dog club around here.
A lot of routine stuff. Anything out of the normal, out of the ordinary?
Oh, just the other day, I got the fun pleasure of drilling a bone that was lodged on a dog's lower jaw. Had to extract that and saw that off.
How did that happen?
You know those little soup bones that folks give dogs to chew on? It keeps them occupied. And this Labradoodle just managed to get her lower jaw, just get this bone. She was trying to lick the marrow out and got it wedged over her lower jaw, slid over the big teeth, and then it got stuck there. And
that is wild.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So we had to knock her out and drill it off.
That is wild. That dog's never going to want bones again now.
Oh, sure she will.
You think?
Are you kidding me? She's a Labradoodle.
Oh, my gosh. That's scary, though, for a dog to have something stuck on their mouth like that.
It was. It was very frightening for her.
You see a lot of weird stuff, and that's why I got you this book over here. Here, can you please hand it to me?
It's a big book.
Jeez. Holy
Huge
moly.
Book, way bigger than Hal's not accustomed to books that big.
No, I certainly am not.
But it's got lots of pictures.
Help me open it so that I can see some of the pictures here.
Pop-ups are good.
This is Ripley's Believe It or Not, Dare to Look, the 3D interactive book app, all together into this big old book that's the size. Remember what books used to be like? Dictionaries, encyclopedias? They'd come around
like
selling
encyclopedias. That's what it's like.
That's what this puppy is like. And
it's a great diet book.
Diet book?
A diet book?
Yes. You look at some of the pictures and you're like, okay, I'm not hungry.
Oh, come on. This is cool stuff, Alan. Me and you're a wimp. This is awesome stuff. This is
awesome stuff.
This is definitely my book, Hal.
And we welcome back to the airways the VP of Exhibits and Archives, Edward Meyer. How are you doing, Edward?
I'm doing great. Obviously, the chapter on odd food isn't a big one around you guys.
No, it's definitely weird, but I got to tell you,
not my favorite either.
There are a lot of animals, as usual, in here. The first one that caught my eyes was the skateboarding cat.
Yeah, you never hear about that.
No, you
kind
see
of thing.
plenty of skateboarding dogs, but you never see the skateboarding cat. This is pretty intense. Now, do you actually go out and take these pictures and verify this? How does that all work?
Well, a little bit of everything. In this particular case, no, we didn't go out and verify it ourselves. The pictures came to us. But, it's a good mix. A lot of stuff finds us, and we find a lot of stuff. We have a research team in London, England, where the book is actually put together, and the main team out of Orlando, Florida, where I'm talking from, and we follow all the leads wherever they come from, whether it be by email or something we see on the TV or in the local newspaper, whatever. And, basically we're always asking, especially through our website and our social media sites, if you've got a story, let us know about it. And particularly, if there's photos or videos, because our books, this one included, Dare to Look, there's over 500 great photos in this book, so it's very much a visual medium. You're joking about the size. We call it a coffee table book. It is 250 pages, 9 by 12, so it is a big book. It's
I love the smell of too.
Carry with you in your briefcase at the airport, probably. But
now, do you ever get duped by people? Are they ever hoaxes?
Especially with Photoshop.
Yeah.
Well, I can't say never, but I certainly don't think very often. I've been asked this question before, and it's a funny thing because I think people want to be in Ripley's for their 15 minutes of fame. They're not trying to fool us. They really are excited about what they've got, and if it's not what they think it is, it's usually us that tells them.
Sure.
They think they've got the real deal, and we tell them it's not. It's not them thinking it was, that they could fool us. They've been fooled. But
sure.
Hal talked about the skateboarding cat, but there's also a snowboarding possum.
Snowboarding possum,
well,
really?
One of the features in this book is called Odd Scan, and this is an app you can get for free. Download it to your phone, and then as you go through the book, there's 18 different pages that have a bright red and green label saying Odd Scan. You click on that, and you get some hidden content, and in most cases it's videos. So if you want to see the skateboarding possum, you can see him in 3D Technicolor on your iPhone or your iPad.
Wow.
Because he's one of the odd scan features, as is the long-tongued dog, the surfing dog, and there's a driving dog. So it's a whole team that have been taught to drive cars.
Yeah, we saw that. What would you say is the most bizarre, since we are an animal show, the most bizarre, most intriguing, unusual animal thing you have in here?
Well, I don't know if it's my probable favorite animal photo is a see-through frog.
Here, I'll hold this up to the microphone.
Let me just see if I can put my hands on what page that's on.
It's on page 62.
Page 62 if you're at home.
Thank you. You're quicker than I am.
That one intrigued me, too.
Kids, turn your page to 62.
This is a South American frog with transparent skin. And you can literally see its body organs, including the beating heart.
Oh, my gosh. Neat.
Pretty cool, huh?
Dr. Debbie Miracle.
I don't know how common this is. It's simply called a glass frog. It's a pretty intriguing photo, and it certainly makes me want to learn a little bit more about them, which is, always part of the intent of our books, is not just to entertain, but to educate as well.
Yeah, last year we had this book. We put it in the studio bathroom, and people would go in there and spend 15, 20 minutes in there reading.
Not come out for a while,
yes.
One of the stranger, and in this case it's a dead animal, but on page 60, again with our odd scan, you've got a cat copter. And these are people that have made a toy helicopter, basically, from the carcass of a taxidermied cat.
Yeah, we had them on the air, and boy, did we hear a lot of controversy on that one there. But there's a picture of it, and I'll hold that up to the microphone.
I was just going to say, I'm not too pleased with this one, to be honest, but it seems to have got real popular on the Internet. And so far with this book, it seems to be one of the main attractions. Now, I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but the same two guys have now made a similar helicopter from the carcass of an ostrich.
Oh.
And
my gosh.
Somehow the ostrich doesn't seem so controversial to me. I don't know if it's because we love pussycats or whatever, but the ostrich actually looks a little funnier because it's bigger and strange.
And they don't really fly anyway, so that's really interesting.
That's what's really cool about
the flying cat and the flying ostrich are definitely popular. Whether they're the best or not, I'm not sure.
Well, I had a couple of guys come in and fit me for propellers so that when I die, I can be made into a helicopter.
Be careful. These guys might want to be going that route next.
It is an amazing book. Ripley's Believe It or Not. Edward, it is so nice to talk to you once again. I love doing it every year, and we'll look forward to next year's, and the oddities, the animal oddities, will collect in the next year.
All right. Have a great day.
Take care.
Fido-Friendly Magazine presents the 16th Annual Cross Country Pet Adoption Tour. Get your licks on Route 66. Along with media sponsor Animal Radio and companion sponsor Zymox, the tour travels down America's favorite highway from L.A. to Chicago, stopping at shelters along the way to support adoption events and to raise money for the shelters. With the help of cat food sponsor Cat It, companion sponsor Tito's Vodka for Dog People, campground sponsor KOA, grooming sponsor Hands On Gloves, and car wrap sponsor Signs to You. Fido-Friendly Magazine brings their giant spinning wheel where attendees can donate money to spin and win Fido fabulous prizes, with all proceeds benefiting the shelter of the day. In the first 15 years, the tour has helped to place over 19,000 pets into new forever homes. Log on to FidoFriendly.com to see where the tour stops near you, and come out for a safe, fun way to support your local shelter. And who knows, you might just find your new forever friend.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, groomer Joey Villani, news director Lori Brooks. Here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
It's Animal Radio. We're celebrating our connection with our pets, and I want to check in with Susan Sims. She is on the Route 66, Get Your Licks on Route 66 adoption tour, and I believe she is in Oklahoma City this weekend. Hi, Susan. How are you doing?
How are you?
Oh, splendid, splendid.
Ashely Bell is here, too, and I was really happy that she could come out to Best Friends with us today, and she wants to say hi.
Hey, Ashely.
Hey, how are you?
Thank you so much for being part of this adoption tour.
Oh, absolutely. It is such an honor to be a part of this tour. All my life I've grown up with rescue pets, and they are absolutely the best. Must know that they're getting a forever home at these shelters, and you're bringing home a friend, and these dogs are your new best friend, and it's such an incredible feeling to do something for them and give back.
Tell us about your pets. Who do you have at home?
I have 3 dogs, and they're all mutts and they're all rescues. There's like a poodle mix, and then 2 Havanese dachshund mixes that I just rescued from the South Central area of Los Angeles. They kind of found me. Yeah.
So how many do you expect to take home from this tour?
Oh my God! I wish I could take them all home. It's incredible to be here, but it's also hurting my heart because I so wanna bring them all back.
I'm one of those foster failures. I'll foster a few animals but I'll fail because I'll end up keeping those animals.
Yeah. That's how it all starts. Yes, but even fostering, like even if for anybody looking to kind of bring a pet into their life or bring a foster into their life, like that's doing such a huge service, to give that dog that time and, that break from whatever they're going through into a warm, loving home. Every bit counts.
Now, are you one of those people that let the pets sleep in bed with you there?
Absolutely.
Well, she doesn't even code it.
Of that. I kind of compare myself to like the fun ant kind of owner, like. My parents have animals as well, and I'll come in and undo all of their training and give food from the table and let them get on everything. And that's what it's about. When you have a pet, if you want to snuggle, they're your best friend.
You definitely want to spoil them. Well, thank you so much. Good talking with you. Have fun today. Go adopt a lot of animals, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
There you go, Ashely Bell, actress Ashely Bell. A lot of noise in the background there. Now, do you know who Ashely Bell is? I was taken by surprise. I know she's an actress.
Who is that?
She's an actress.
She's an actress.
I can't.
Was that Kristen Bell's sister?
I don't think so, and I can't think of anything she's in.
You're the hip one here, Alan. I don't understand. You're the one that should know.
Ashely Bell. Well, I can look it up on the internets if you'd like. I mean, I have the most modern facilities at my behoval.
Yeah, give that a peek on the old interweb.
Let's see what happens here.
And see what comes up with Ashely. We just spoke to Ashely Bell. She is an actress, and she's the spokesperson for the Route 66. Get your licks on Route 66 adoption tour that's heading across the country right now.
She's very pretty.
She is very. Can you hold the picture up? Can you hold the computer
Look
monitor?
at that. Yeah,
that is.
Oh, here's her. She was in The Last Exorcism. What else was she in? Let me see here. Let me get her movie thing up here. And I'm trying to find her other stuff.
Unfortunately, she was killed in the first scene in that, I believe. So
she was in The Black Tulip. Chasing Shakespeare, Sparks, The Bounce Back. Let's see. The Penguins of Madagascar. That was a TV series?
That was a good show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kid's show, you knucklehead.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I got a male African gray. He's about 3. We've had him since about 2 years. He'll sit on your finger, you can tell him to step up. But his, what you call it, claws are getting, they just dig into your finger or your hand, just wherever he gets. Is there a secret to...
Have you tried trimming them?
I've tried, but I'm not home that much, and my wife, she's half scared of him. He's kind of nailed her a couple times.
Yeah. For African gray or any parrot, they're a mighty powerful beak there. So, if you're not comfortable doing nail trimming for birds, and especially the larger birds, then, this is the greatest reason for putting that bird in a pet carrier and taking them over to your local vet. And hopefully they do trim bird toenails, because it really is something that if you're not comfortable with, you can get hurt and he can get hurt too. So we want to make sure that be said first and foremost, because we do at my office a lot of bird trimming, wing trimming, nail trimming, you name it. And that's for several reasons. One is because it's a hard thing to do at home for a lot of folks. The restraint is very important. We don't want a bird getting their nails trimmed that is wiggling or flapping their wings. They could really hurt themselves. But another reason why I recommend getting a professional to do this type of thing is that it can, for some birds, it can kind of break down some of that bond that they have with their close family member. And it can really, it's hard when they look up and they see your face, if you're the primary caregiver, and you're the one doing the naughty things to those toenails. So when we handle birds in our office, we use a large towel for a parrot-sized bird. And we kind of gently put that over the bird and then hold on to their head firmly through the towel. We don't want wings flapping. We don't want body parts flying. If that happens and you're not comfortable, I'd say stop the game and get a professional involved.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hey, everybody, this is Brett Michaels, and I just want to say, you, right now, want to take... Wait, give me the line again. My brain skipped.
Brett Michaels.
I just had one of my brain hemorrhage brain farts.
Oh,
Go
don't
ahead,
do that.
say
Don't do
one
that.
more time.
I don't want to be responsible for that.
Trust me, it's me. Go ahead.
Animal Radio. Brett Michaels, Animal Radio.
You got it. I knew the Animal Radio. Okay, here we go. Hey, this is Brett Michaels. You're listening to Animal Radio, and take care of your pets. They will rock your world.
Would you like to pay lower fees and interest on your credit cards? Of course you would. Are you making more money than you were a year ago? If you're like a lot of us out there, barely living paycheck to paycheck, I doubt it. It just costs more to live today, and you're probably using your credit cards more. To help you, the credit card companies have issued the Credit Card Hardship Program. It's a free program that can help you by reducing their fees. We've set up a special hotline right now, so regardless of what credit card company you work with, we can help you negotiate through the hardship program. To qualify, you must have $10,000 or more in credit card bills, have a source of income or a job, and you're having a tough time paying your bills. Listen, we want to help you, so please make this free phone call right now to learn more.
800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. 800-245-1567. That's 800-245-1567. Paid for by the Debt Solutions Network.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team. Veterinarian Dr. Debbie White, dog trainer Alan Cable, groomer Joey Villani, communicator Joy Turner, and here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
Yeah, we're back. They let us back on the air. Those people. A big show for you today. We have Mikkel Becker joining us. She is the offspring of Dr. Marty Becker.
And she's just as intelligent and just as energetic.
You know, and it says right here on her bio and everything that she's the daughter of Dr. Becker. I don't think that she really needs to ride his coattails at all. She can stand very on informative. Her own. Every time she's on, she always gets Alan very excited. She's a very charismatic young lady.
You know, I love her philosophy. I mean, she knows what it's about. She's all about what it's about.
What is it about?
Well, yeah, what is
positive reinforcement, and you know, teaching a dog is so much fun if you look at it that way. It can be so creative to find ways to motivate them and to watch them and to figure out little techniques and things you can do to get them to do what you want. It's a lot of fun, you know, to have a dog, and I think a lot of people miss out on that fun.
Oh, and it's exciting when you see it in their eyes when they get it.
When you connect with the dog and they understand what you're saying.
It's like awesome.
Oh, that's. Let's see. What are you working on, Stacy?
You know, you hear stories about dogs that get lost and then they miraculously, years later sometimes, come back home, and miles later, you know, they go from one state to the next. What about a dog that just takes the bus on a daily basis and comes home every day after stopping at a poultry shop? I'll give you all the details coming up on Animal Radio.
She always gets the good ones, doesn't she? You know, I know you're all into this positive reinforcement stuff, Alan, and that's why I brought Mikkel Becker on. Hey, Mikkel, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Where are we talking to you today? And you said you're in Washington today visiting friends?
I am. I'm down in Tri-Cities, Washington, visiting friends. They have 3 snakes, so I have gotten gradually more comfortable with them, and I actually like them. And I used to be terribly afraid, so I'm getting there. They're making me more of a fan more and more every time I come.
You're braver than I am.
You sure
I know. Last night it was really funny. We were watching a movie, and you know they just hang out with their snakes on the couch, and so I'm holding them. I'm like, this is weird, but it's really cool. They sit and they watch TV, and they're actually very affectionate, which is really surprising when you're around them for a while. So
how big are they? They're
pretty big. The one is probably about 2 feet long, and the one of them is the first one. It's actually from Vietnam. And it's a sunbeam, and so they're very rare. And it's very, very affectionate and kind of wants to go up by your face and kind of give you kisses. So it's really odd. Whoa. But yeah, I'm becoming a fan. Although I can't watch the the mice eating part and the rat eating part, I can't handle that part. But the rest of it, I like.
No thanks. No thanks.
Yeah, no thanks on that.
I'll stick with my little kitty for now, at least. So Alan and I were just talking about positive reinforcement. The barking at the doorbell is probably one of the biggest problems that we have.
Gosh,
and
bonkers.
Every time the doorbell goes off, Ladybug, the studio stunt dog, just goes absolutely crazy.
Nuts.
And I don't know how I can use reinforcement to help me in that kind of situation.
Well, so what's really important is, for me, I have 2 pugs, and I have a little home in North Idaho, and I actually like it that they bark to alert me that someone is there. But what's important for me is that when I ask them to, then they can be quiet. And so what I've done is I've trained them to do a downstay at the door. So as soon as the doorbell rings, the barking ensues, which is fine. But then right away I get them to do a downstay right there at the door, and then they're quiet at that point. And so the rest of it's really quiet and calm and all of that. So the way that you train that is you first of all just train a dog to do a downstay. And you can use a mat area, or if you just have a specific area you want them to be by the door, reinforce the heck out of that. So you practice without anybody there. Just do a basic downstay, lots of treats, lots of petting, affection, things like that. Practice gradually opening the door, getting the dog really relaxed with that. Then you may introduce a family member outside of the door without the knocking or without the doorbell ringing. Get them comfortable with that. And so you gradually get them to where you can have someone at the door and the dog can stay in that downstay until you release them. So it's become a really great pattern for us with me and my pugs, but it's just being very consistent that the door only opens when they're doing their downstay. And so you just have to really have those boundaries there for your dog and reward the heck out of them for doing the right behavior that you do want.
I love you.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. She's talking about, Hal and Judy, they don't come to me with any problems. They wait for somebody. They have no respect for me, but I do everything you say. It's exactly what you do.
Okay, I have another question. I walk a big standard poodle, and when I go over to the house to get him, he mouths my hand, and his mouth is so big, he puts my hand in his mouth, and he snaps, and he wants to get my arms and my hands, and she said he really only does that. He does it with other people.
Is he biting hard?
No.
He's not biting. He's just
not
mouthing.
Biting. He's just mouthing. He's greeting me by putting his hand, and I pull my hand away, and I just yell, like, hey, and then I turn around.
So actually, it's really funny. If you were to tell me you had a mouthing dog, I would have actually guessed it was a poodle, really? Because I have not met a poodle yet that doesn't mouth. A lot of them, that's a go-to behavior for them, and so it's really natural for them as poodles to want to mouth.
Wow.
What's important with them is when they start to do the mouthing thing, sometimes even pulling your hand away is exciting for them. So the more excited and worked up they get, the more likely they're going to want to mouth. Uh-huh. So what I do, so if you're like walking through a door or a gate or anything like that, wait for the dog to be in a sit. So you may even crack the door open just to peek. And if they're sitting, oh, what a good dog. And I would have your treats ready, especially when you're first training this, because they're going to be pretty excited and they're going to want to go right into that mouthing. And so you want to just reward them as you start to open the door or the gate and as they stay in that sit. But if they start to do the mouthing thing, then what you want to do is just stop and freeze like a statue, completely ignore, because otherwise it's a really fun game for them.
My hand in his mouth?
So if a dog starts mouthing, I cross my arms and pull them in towards towards your body so you can keep them down low, and just freeze and look away and just wait for them to do something like with even just turning their mouth away, and then that's when you start to reward the heck out of them. But practicing that, and where you always freeze, but also you find what it is that you actually want to reward them for, and the dogs learn pretty fast.
We are with the amazing Mikkel Becker. I'm sorry, Alan, did you have something there?
Mikkel, do you ever, you know what I like to do with dogs I have 2 dogs that were putting their hands on their own, is I just tell them, we instantly turn around and pay no attention to them. Then we'll wait 10, 15 seconds, turn around again and pay no attention to them until they get totally calm.
Definitely. So that's where it's important. So like I have a 3-year-old daughter, and with her it's important to use that reinforcement, but also sometimes you do have to have those little tiny timeouts with them. And so that's where withdrawing your attention, turning away if needed, so that you signal to them, okay, that behavior doesn't work anymore to get my attention, but here's what does work. And also the other thing I didn't say, but for poodles or for dogs that are really mouthy, it really helps them if they have a bunch of toys right there by the door that you can redirect them to, so that they have something to carry in their mouth, because when they get nervous and worked up, a lot of them want to carry something, and just having a toy in their mouth is going to take that away altogether.
Okay,
just stick it right in his face, Judy, right in his face.
Yeah.
What about cats? Can we even train cats? Who can train a cat? I don't know anybody that can train cats.
Absolutely. It's actually so much easier than you think. Did you know that you actually have a come when called as soon as you bring out that can opener? Have you ever done that?
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Open that can and they come.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have the beginning of starting to train a cat, but what you want to do with them, cats actually sit quite frequently. And so the 3 go-to behaviors that I have is I train a cat to target, I train a cat to sit, and I train a cat to come when called. And if you have those 3 basics, you're going to help eliminate a lot of behavior problems and give you a better way to interact with your cat. And you can do this with just their normal meal. So sometimes I do like just the canned cat food or a little bit of tuna on the end of a spoon. And then you may just start, whenever the cat naturally sits, you can mark it with a good, or sometimes if you want to use a clicker, you can use that, or even the end of a ballpoint pen. So you just click it or say good, and then you give them a little lick of the treat, and then move it back up again and reset them, and then wait for another sit. And so eventually these cats are like, oh, wow, this is really amazing, because whenever I sit, all of a sudden I get these great treats. So that's one of the great ways to do it. And also with the come and called, how we were mentioning with the can opener. So the can opener, it's not going to be likely that you're going to be carrying a can opener with you all the time.
Although.
Do you do that? Yeah.
All great information. Mikkel Becker joining us. The website is vetstreet.com. You're hooked up with them now.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I have a question. Mikkel, what's it like at your house for Thanksgiving? You know, you and your dad sitting around the table. What do you guys talk about over there?
Oh, my gosh. Well, we love talking about the pugs. The pugs are our favorite, so it's not unusual for us to have 8-10 dogs around the dinner table for Thanksgiving, so it stays pretty busy where we're at, that's for sure.
Do you have any, relatives that are just, they have these unreasonable, unmanageable pets, and they don't listen to you guys at all, and it's frustrating?
Oh, yes, that's absolutely for sure. And it's so true that the dogs and the cats are so much easier to communicate with sometimes than the pet parents, and it's hard. It's really hard. And actually, one of the things I found that people get the most upset with from training in the veterinary hospital is when people hear that their pet is overweight, and it's hard because you have to tell them that because you want the pet to be healthy, but it's rather insulting and it's hard.
Yes.
So that part is tough for sure. But
isn't it like talking with some people, talking about their pets is like talking about religion? I mean, they take it so personally.
Religion or politics?
Yep. Absolutely. And a lot of people, that's the problem too. A lot of people research online, and so they find things, and some of those things don't have very much justification from a scientific training standpoint. So you're like, okay, I really don't think that's going to work, but yeah, you can try it. But what I found is trying to reinforce the pet parents has been very helpful. So when they're doing what I want them to do, then
you're training them too. Yes.
I'm training them too. I haven't figured out how to train a man yet, but
it's very easy. Very easy. Just give him the remote whenever he does what you want.
This is
Animal Radio.
Well, you lucky dog, don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio.
Hey, this is Paula Poundstone. Wait, I forget where I am.
Animal Radio.
Animal Radio. I love that. All right. Hey, this is Paula Poundstone on Animal Radio. Spay and neuter your pets or we're going to be eaten alive.
We all love children, and many of us have an old car, truck, or van in the driveway. Find the Children has a great way for you to put your unwanted vehicle to good use. Keep listening. Every year, thousands of kids go missing. Trust me, it's a parent's worst nightmare. When a child goes missing, every moment counts, and you need all of the help you can get. Find the Children is a non-profit organization dedicated to locating missing children and bringing them home safely. You can help support their mission by donating your car, truck, van, van or SUV. A towing company will come and pick up your car for free, running or not, and the donation of your car is tax deductible. Your help is providing the funds they need to continue their services. Call now, donate your old vehicle to Find the Children, and get free pickup. Here's the number.
800-711-5096. 800-711-5096. 800-711-5096. That's 800-711-5096.
It's Animal Radio. Dr. Debbie answering your vet medical questions. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
Oh, very good. Thank you.
What's going on in your world?
Well, two things I wanted to say that you've never mentioned before, but I'm sure you'll agree with. When I was younger, actually about late 20s, I had this spot in my living room that was a little bare, and I got the idea, you know what would be good there? A parrot. So I went out and bought a cockatoo, thinking I'd get a nice cage, put a pretty parrot in it, and it'd be a good decoration.
Yeah.
Boy, did I learn a lesson.
I bet.
Man, the attention those things need that I learned over the years. And I bet there's still a lot of people who don't realize, especially a cockatoo.
Yeah, and they'll outlive you, too, won't they?
Yeah, and it's like having a kid.
At least with the kid, they have a chance of going off and becoming like a football player or a rock star and supporting you in your...
Yeah, very true, yeah. But my question was, and I'm sure you get this sometimes, I know it's difficult, but have you ever heard of any suggestions to help with a cockatoo as far as the screaming goes?
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. And Jim, I'm gonna chide you on this because a new lamp fills a space in your house, but the pet does not. And exactly, as far as birds, birds are some of the most needy pets out there. They're flock animals, they're social creatures, and if you were to come into my office and say, "Hey, Doc, I want to get a first bird for me," what species would you pick? I would certainly not say a cockatoo unless you had a lot of time to spend, because these guys, they are like, we call them toddlers, because they do require constant attention, and they really need a lot of social stimulation, or they'll turn into little demons, screaming, picking their feathers out till they look like a plucked chicken. And so they really are not good starter birds. To start with a little bird, a little parakeet, or a cockatiel might be the better beginner bird for someone.
Yeah, I learned that lesson.
He's learned his lesson, Dr. Debbie. Lay off of him.
Just like you said, he started picking his feathers and everything.
Yeah, well, and I'm not trying to, make him feel bad, but for other people that may be considering birds, we want to learn from, other folks' mistakes. So, definitely. Now, screaming it's a hard thing as far as in a parrot to correct. The better way we can deal with this is to prevent it. So that's going to be a lot of making sure we've picked the right bird for our household and that we're providing the right stimulation. But to correct this, we have to look at what is triggering the bird to vocalize. And when they're screaming, some birds are going to scream no matter what a couple times a day. That's kind of a natural bird behavior. We're not going to stop this completely. The thing is to find out what the bird is motivated, what is causing them to scream. And this can be
when we leave the room, as long as we're in the room and the bird can see us, he's pretty good. But the minute we walk out of the room, he thinks, "Hey, you get back in here."
Exactly. So, he's just, in bird language, what he's doing is he's saying, "Hey, where you going? Hey!" And, a lot of times when birds scream and vocalize excessively, the human instinct is, "Shut up! Quiet! Don't do that." And you are actually responding in a way that actually rewards that behavior if you do that. Because any attention that you give a bird that screams in the situation, you're actually just feeding that behavior. They're happy you're just acknowledging them. They don't really care what you're saying or your tone, or it's loud or quiet. So the real big thing there is we need to work on a lot of things environmentally. So a lot of times birds will do this kind of thing also because they're bored and they don't have a lot of other stimulation. So there may be some changes we do in the cage. There's a wonderful feeding method called forage feeding, where we take away the food bowls and we teach the bird how to forage again, like they do in the wild, where they pick up the food from the floor, and it actually gives them something to do so they don't just sit in a cage and wait for us to entertain them. So that's one incorporation I'd like to do for a lot of different different behavior problems for birds. What we need to do, just like with dogs that excessively bark, is we have to find those opportunities when the bird is quiet to reward her. And we reward with attention. We speak to her, maybe give a food treat. And the trick is when we are vocalizing and screaming inappropriately, when we don't want that behavior, you don't pay any attention. You don't make eye contact. You don't roll your eyes. You don't sigh. You don't yell at the bird. You can't even acknowledge it, because any of that is actually feeding that. And it actually can be very helpful for birds that scream if we teach them something else to do besides screaming. So I have some clients that don't like their birds whistling, but it is something that can take the place of that screaming behavior. So you start whistling and teaching them a ditty. If they talk, that's an alternate behavior they can't do while they're screaming. So we really work on that and try to get that together. And, this is something that it can be daunting. It can be more daunting to deal with a bird screaming, I think, than a barking dog, because some species, they're conures and parrots.
It hurts. It literally hurts the ears at times.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, so the lesson here is if there's a bare spot in your living room, perhaps not a cockatoo is the answer.
No, don't think you're just getting something that's going to be simple at all. It doesn't work like that.
Okay, Jim. Thank you so much.
Okay,
good luck with that.
Much.
It's amazing how similar the bird is to dogs. It's a lot of similarities there.
It is. It's all about attention. Our pets just want to be with us, and
You're smart, Dr. Debbie. You're so smart.
Oh, you always. Is this Dr. Debbie time? Can I hear it?
No, it is. I'm serious, man. You're really smart.
I want to mention, while it is Dr. Debbie time, that your books are really good. I figured, she's writing some books. Everybody tries it, to write a book. But your books, Yorkshire Terriers, Shih Tzus, Pugs, and Mini Schnauzers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friend, very educational, very fun, a lot of fun facts, and I encourage everybody listening to check them out.
You were riveted to them.
I
know.
I was like, our Dr. Debbie wrote this?
So smart.
A colleague of mine had said that, I'm reading this book and I feel like you're just talking to me. That is truly kind of how I approached it, is really, what am I going to tell my friends? How would I tell my friend who's thinking of getting a pug? What are the good and the bad things you got to know? So that's how it is.
How would you like to get a free smartphone? If you own a smartphone, listen to this incredible offer that's almost too good to be true. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Plus, get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline now and we'll move your number from your existing service. Think of your savings. So don't wait. Switch your plan, save money, plus get a free smartphone every year. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. We guarantee you're going to love our service. If you don't like what we say, you can hang up on us. But you won't. Right now, you can switch your plan and get service with us for as little as $2 a day. Guaranteed for life. Call the free smartphone hotline right now. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. 800-475-3351. That's 800-475-3351.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Stacy Cohen for Animal Radio. Colorado man in a heap of trouble for drunk driving, but he was drunk while he was riding his horse. The University of Colorado police say 45-year-old Patrick Schumacher was taken into custody in Boulder right after police officers found him on top of a horse, visibly intoxicated. Schumacher was apparently riding his steed 600 miles to his brother's wedding in Utah. Wonder when is it? Like next year or what? He told authorities he had decided to travel by horse after he lost his driver's license. Wonder how that happened. A search of his saddlebag turned up several beer cans and a small pistol. After spending the night in jail, he was released from custody, reunited with his horse so he could continue on his trek. A woman in Italy says her dog has learned how to navigate the city bus routes in Genoa all by himself. The owner told The Local that 12-year-old Camillo has been riding the bus since he was a puppy. Now he spends his days riding around town and getting off at the stops where he knows he'll find a treat. Camilla's owners say the pooch is always taking the bus to a local poultry shop. That's where he gets a few handouts, and then he comes home by the end of the day. Animal behavior expert Luigi Bottini explains that Camillo isn't really plotting out his bus routes, but instead he's using familiar smells and sights to figure out when to get on and off the bus. Camilla's owner says she's ordered a camera for his collar so she can see exactly what the four-legged traveler does on his adventures. She also should send him with a list so he can get a whole chicken and bring it home instead of just, a piece here and there. Well, the list is out for the most dog-friendly cities. Now, to make the list, these things were taken into consideration. Vet costs, how much it costs to go to your vet, the number of dog parks within the city, and walkability, how easy it is to get around the city and navigate it with your dog. All right, here are the top 5 cities. Number 1, Portland, Oregon. Number 2, Miami, Florida, followed by Seattle, Washington, and Minneapolis. It's a broken record. Mississippi alligator record has been broken for the 3rd time. According to the Clarion Ledger, a hunter named Dalco Turner bagged the longest male alligator in Mississippi record books. The gator reportedly measured 13 feet, 6.5 inches. Also tipped the scales at 741.5 pounds. That broke the record, was over 13 pounds. Turner says he and a team of hunters first spotted the gator late at night. However, they didn't think he was big enough to go after. They later decided to go after him, getting 3 hooks and lines on the gator. Turner says the gator broke the lines 3 separate times before they were able to capture him. Last week, the record was broken 2 other times with that 723-pound gator and a 727-pound gator. They just keep getting bigger. I'm Stacy Cohen. Get more animal breaking news at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes,
I'll be right
please.
back.
Go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom.
I'll be right back.
You don't have to hold up your hand anymore to do that.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
You go right now.
Sitting there with the I'm going to be in there with the Ripley's book. If you need me, I'm in there.
Okay. Oh, are we ready to go to the phone?
Let's go to the phone line, too. Come on. What are you waiting for?
I don't know what I was waiting for there. Hey, Clifford, how are you?
I have an 8-month-old female Labradoodle that is the most pickiest eater imaginable. This dog turns down steak. We took her to the vet to see if maybe she had a blockage, and she was fine. But what she'll do is she'll eat something for 1 or 2 days. She's not eating it anymore. We change it to something else. She'll eat it for a few days. She doesn't want it anymore. I can't find anything consistent that she'll eat. 3 days max. That's it.
That's very interesting because we tend to see that behavior more in the little diva dogs, the little small toy dogs. For a Labradoodle, I don't know, a good respecting doodle that wouldn't eat just about anything. So for me,
the funny part, she'll take it from my hand. She'll eat almost anything from my hand. She'll eat fruit, apples, anything from my hand. Mm-hmm. But for her to sit, for her to go over to her bowl and eat, she doesn't like to do that.
Okay. Well, some of the strategies we have with picky eaters, and this is always after we've eliminated medical causes of failure to eat. So, assuming she's a young gal, she's probably in good health, making sure she's dewormed and your vet's, comfortable with that. I would tend to say that there's a lot of things that we can do to make mealtime more dramatic. And for some dogs, as we're starting to get them to eat regularly, we just have to be cautious because we can really set a perpetual cycle of a dramatic eating experience so that some people will get down on the floor. Come on, baby. Come on, please eat these little bits. Come on for daddy.
Okay. Okay, Deb, I will.
Not to interrupt you, but a friend of mine made this suggestion. He had a lab that was like that. And he said, do not feed that dog anything for 4 days. Nothing. Whatever you put down then, it'll eat like a wolf forever. Give it all the water at once, but feed it nothing for 4 days.
Well, I'm a tough mom, and I would tend to say my dogs, that is the strategy I take. But if she is getting accustomed to eating from your hand and she's preferring that, you might not be making the baby goo-goo sounds, but you are actually becoming part of the feeding experience. So
Giving her
yes,
attention.
Exactly. So by making you kind of the middle link for her feeding experience, that could be actually making things worse. So yeah, I would tend to say put it down, and I would like to see this dog eating a good quality dog food. Not that steak's not a good thing, but I think that for nutrition, making sure she's in good health. Now, there are some dogs that will be picky eaters that can actually have food allergies. So that can be one component of them not wanting to eat, is because as they eat, they get just like a person who's lactose intolerant. They may get gassiness, they may feel pressure, bloating, and that can make them not want to eat in the future. So might be something to look at, a hypoallergenic diet, something geared for pets that are sensitive, with sensitive stomachs, and that might help. And then I'm sure the lack of drama will go a long way in getting her to eat.
That's exactly what I've done for her. I've given her allergenic food. I mean, she'll eat most anything we give her. We only give her quality stuff. We don't give her any garbage. I mean, I really don't. I don't feed her from the table. You know, just maybe a little piece of a snack. That's it. Nothing much. The whole thing, when I said feed her from my hand, just to get her started, like, here, taste this, then once she tastes it. Oh, boy. Then
I just walked in. What's going on? What's going on? Because I just walked in. What was his problem? His dog won't eat?
Yeah.
She's just incredibly picky. She'll eat the same thing maybe twice, 3 times max, and then she doesn't want it again for at least a month till she's totally forgot what it tastes like, and then maybe she'll eat it again for a day or two. So I'm constantly switching food on her.
Well, it's interesting. It's really interesting to listen to you. Really interesting, because Dr. Debbie said you got to rule out all medical causes. That's the first thing you do. But when I listen to you talk, I talk to a lot of folks just like you. They love their dogs. Their dogs are a member of the family. They coddle their dogs. They hover over their dogs. They worry about their dogs. And in reality, their dogs are in charge of them. Their dogs run the show. Your dog is in charge of you.
We live in our dog's house.
Yeah, you
but see, the fact that you say that tells me that you can't solve your problem.
Exactly.
So we could talk to you for a long, long time about how to solve the problem, but you're not going to do it because you like that your dog runs the house.
Yeah, but I'm
and
a
that's
tough
fine.
Guy. I mean, if you tell me don't feed her for 3 days and then put food down, I'll do it.
I'm not going to tell you not to feed her for 3 days.
I am really sick and tired of her picky eating.
Well, if you're really sick and tired of it, don't do it anymore. Just take a deep breath, put her food down, okay, and just walk away. Leave it there 20 minutes and take it away. Don't talk to her. Don't look at her. Nothing. If you want to give her a treat for being a good dog, put it in her food dish and walk away. Don't make any big deal about feeding her. Don't talk to her. Don't look at her. Don't give her any attention. As soon as she figures out that you're not going to change her food, you're not going to be feeding her from your hand anymore, you're not going to be coddling and hovering over her to make sure that she eats and paying all this attention to her when she doesn't, she'll start eating.
Okay. I will give it a try.
But how long should you go, Alan, if they don't eat? I mean, sometimes they won't eat.
You know what? A dog will eat when a dog is hungry. I have never seen, unless there's a medical problem like Deb was talking about, or a food allergy or something that is making the dog physically ill, I don't think there's a dog on this planet that's not going to eat when it's hungry. It is a survival instinct. And when a dog is hungry, unless she's afraid to eat and you're freaking her out, you know, like as soon as she goes for the bowl, you make loud noises and shoot guns over her head and act like a lunatic. There's not a dog alive who's not going to eat when they're hungry. It's people who cause these problems. People cause these problems.
Exactly. And, you know, one other point I want to make is that structure in the schedule for dogs who have these kind of problems are very important. So just like Alan said, setting the food down, making it a consistent time and a place, and even a special place, and letting that be the dog's dining area, really very important. And the other thing that I always like to encourage is increasing the physical activity. I see this in my own home. I do have a fussy eater, but I've said before, I'm a no-drama mama, and I will not take that. So what I do is I get him out, I go for a run with him. I'll guarantee you, once we get back, he will go to that bowl and say, I'm hungry, because we've expanded expended more calories, his drive to eat is going to be stronger. So that can be one other component that you can really look at there, Clifford, and to try to help her.
And that's a great rule of thumb, Clifford. A happy dog is a tired dog. In general, every day, a Labradoodle, at least 30 minutes of intense activity, fetching, running. I mean, you exhaust that dog, you bring that dog in and put food in front of your dog and walk away. That dog is going to eat the food. Trust me.
Got an old car? You can donate it and save a life. The United Breast Cancer Foundation needs your help. They want to keep saving lives by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car or truck, running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Call now for free pickup. 800-793-4880. 800-793-4880. That's 800-793-4880.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Here's Hal and Judy.
Hey, you had that one question last week you mentioned.
So I wrote her a big response.
Yeah.
Did you see my response?
Yeah, it was a long response.
Well, because I want to help her, and hopefully she didn't say thank you. They never write back and say, hey, thanks, and I get nothing.
You actually answer all your emails, and you actually respond to the Nigerian offers.
I was going to tell you I was leaving Animal Radio. Either I'm going to Mars to live forever,
yes.
I'm taking the test,
yes,
or I'm going, to meet with the king in Nigeria because they're going to give me $32 billion and I'm a prince now. So
let's go to Leslie. Hey, Leslie, how are you doing?
Good.
What's going on with your pet today?
Well, it's not my pet that I'm calling about. Needed to get some assistance with a neighbor of ours, the bachelor, never been married, probably approaching 70 years old, finding great entertainment and joy in buying kibble and leaving it out for the skunks and the raccoons, and we're in the neighborhood.
Wow.
And I have tried to convince him. I've told him the statistics that have epidemic skunk population in our county, that they carry rabies. He has cats, indoor, outdoor cats, but he just gets this fascination. He's named the little skunks and their babies that they bring around each night, just when it's starting to turn dark. And we're smelling skunks all the time, spraying, outside. And we've got 2 dogs that we let out at night in our yard. And I just wondered if you have any suggestions about what we could say that might get through to this man that just thinks that there's no harm in feeding the wildlife.
Wow. For a minute, I thought you were going to ask me some medical questions about a 70-year-old man, and I thought, gosh, this show is crazy. Everyone's asking for human medical advice.
I'm just trying to give you the full picture. He's lonely. He doesn't have a lot of friends, and these animals are his friends. And he thinks it's very entertaining to see them come to his back door each evening. I think the skunks usually come first, and the raccoons kind of keep their distance, and then the raccoons come and eat when the skunks are finished. And it's a nightly regimen that goes on there, and he tells my husband about it. Doesn't mention it to me too much because he knows that I usually give him some flack about it, but nothing has worked. So I thought, you know what? Maybe somebody at Animal Radio.
Oh, God bless you.
Right direction. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, and it's definitely a huge concern because as long as he's feeding these critters, they're going to keep coming back, and that's going to pose, all the risks that you've mentioned. Absolutely. So we really need to work at it. So I would kind of feel like sometimes working with folks with animals and some of our attachments to animals, even wildlife, it sometimes kind of borders on psychology here. So I'm not a psychologist, so I'll premise that by saying that, I know animals, I don't know people, but I can tell you that sometimes that attachment to animals can be so extreme that even sensible information is just dismissed.
Right.
So all your good advice may not ever sink into his head. So a couple directions that I can tell you that I've used for folks in similar situations, sometimes more in like the hoarding situations. One is to get the local, either the wildlife department or animal control involved. Sometimes someone with a badge coming up and saying, hey, we're having a problem with wildlife. There are children in the area. This risk is established. They can throw statistics at him. That might be one thing you could do. The other, sometimes looking for a substitute, almost like a surrogate animal. So he's already got cats that he feeds. But if he likes little critters that run around, perhaps it's a barter system. Maybe a family member or a friend of his, we can work with them to say, hey, why don't we get you something cool? Maybe I'll spring for a guinea pig. If you want to have something to feed and to adore and to pet, that's cute and it's got little beady eyes, then, maybe that might be a way of kind of trying to find a replacement, because there really is a psychological kind of need for a lot of this behavior for some people, if they're not, responding to kind of what would seem like rational information, to try to help them not do that. So in the meantime, I would have to ask, are the critters becoming a problem on your property, or is it just you're just being proactive?
We've tried to plug up all the holes on our property in the fenced area where we let our dogs out. Because years ago we had a problem with skunks coming on, and we realized they are good diggers, and so we've tried to put pieces of broken concrete or stepping stones or things that they can't dig under.
And the things you can do in your yard, definitely making areas inaccessible. I like that you're doing that with either wire fence or blocks. But these guys generally, most of them are active at night, so ways you can make it less appealing for them at night would be to put a motion activated backyard, like a halogen light out there.
We have that.
So that would go off. And really, I'm talking like intense light. So you might have to get multiple fixtures, things like that, or even the motion-activated sprinkler systems that go off when a critter kind of breaches the electronic eye. Right. Those might be things that you can do. And then sometimes, just the using ammonia environmentally kind of in some areas that can kind of keep these guys away. So, you can try that. But, yeah, you might have to get some other wildlife authorities involved to really kind of have an intervention with this gentleman next door.
Yeah.
My best wishes to you there. That is a daunting challenge, Leslie.
For your suggestions. I appreciate it.
And if worse comes to worse, we can send Joey Villani over there. He'll take care of it.
Talk to him.
Boy, that just really blew by today. It was an amazing show. I want to thank Miguel Becker for joining us. Also, what was his name from?
Edward Meyer.
Edward Meyer. I should remember that.
Yes, you should. He's on every year, Hal.
Thanks, guys, for joining us on Animal Radio. Don't forget to download the Animal Radio app and visit us over at animalradio.com. And if you have a Yorkshire Terrier or a Shih Tzu or a Pug or a Mini Schnauzer, let me tell you, the owner's manual is written by our very own Dr. Debbie, and you can check out her new books, Yorkshire Terriers, How to Be Your Dog's Best Friends, Shih Tzus, Pugs, and Mini Schnauzers. I just realized you can see these Kindle books on your iPad now.
You just figured that out,
I just figured that out.
Very good, Hal. Did Ladybug show that to you?
She did. She's so smart. We'll see you next week for more Animal Radio right here on this fine station. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Animal Radio Network.